Are you hear me?
Yeah.
All right. You go straight into it. So, morning again, everybody. All of these questions in this PowerPoint would have been questions from 2018, 2019, 2020, and 2021. Sorry, 2021 and 2022. So um, again, CXC might have different question. Tammy and LeBron, they might have different questions. So with that being said, want to see something, ask me a question. If you don't know if you want me to explain over again. All right, Tammy and LeBron.
Yes, sir.
All right. So normally the first thing they normally ask in the exam is to state two components of the natural environment. Remember, we went through this during class, right? Where we talk about the natural environment just being an environment to the picture on the right here. We just talk about the land and water, things that you can think about in the natural environment. So that means no school, no furniture, nothing like that, just natural open environment. So again, normally at the first two questions on the paper, built environment, natural environment. Are we clear? So natural environment again, land, water bodies such as ocean, lakes, rivers, streams, and the land, mountain, valley, plain. All right. And then the next question they normally ask is right here, the built environment. The opposite of the natural environment are the built environment, made by the people for the people. Built environment again, people, made by the people. And in the built environment, you have house, car. Sorry, let me take out car. In the built environment, you have let me stick strictly to buildings. We have schools, we have walkways, we have parks. We can go etc. So those would have been members of the built environment. Are we clear so far, people? Any questions before I move on?
No, sir.
All right, cool. So again, built environment, if they ask to state the different members of the built environment, please, built environment, break down everything, answer everything. Moving along. Built environment, again, two components. You have the parkway, you have buildings such as schools, hospitals, etc. Now, some of these things when I go see now, or let me speak English, some of the things you're gonna be introduced to now would be the first time you're seeing it. Um, crypt, um, let me start at frame, building structure, solid building structure. Now, frame building structure, as the name suggests, frame, framed. For example, the top picture right here is just a frame. This is what you consider just a frame. You're not seeing no brick, you're not seeing no block. It's just frame, nothing else. As you can see right here, so just a frame heading right round. So this, for example, if you know the building that was um if you know the building out by across from LJ that was recently built, they use this type of structure. They built it using a frame structure. And the solid structure below that now would have been like your house. Things where them use like block for build it up. You understand, people? So solid structure would be solid as the name suggests, solid. And the frame structure is where they build a frame. And then you can have the different parts. You can always add rooms here. You can add a room here. You can move it and change it up. It's like an open space. All right. All right, so the KYOTO protocol is an international treaty established in 1997 under the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change. So it's like a protocol come together by a different countries as to how they're gonna go about reducing things that would affect the climate. All right. So normally this comes on the question, guys. Remember, it's a treaty established in 1997. I suggest that you make notes so you can have it when you want to do some additional research on it. So any questions you can always ask. All right, so climate change, people. So climate change summarize and please people always break down the question. Climate change. And you know climate have to do with the weather. Different patterns of weather. Hot, dry, wet, cold. Climate change. That means the weather changing. Just simple answer every question. So climate change refer to long-term changes in the temperature, precipitation patterns, and other aspects of Earth's climate. All right. And they ask like, here are some ways it can impact the Caribbean. You know, in the Caribbean, we are surrounded by a water body, and sea level rises, and we have a lot of sea level. So, for example, this is Jamaica, right? And the sea level rises, and it eats off the coastal area. So that happens over a period of time. You might not notice it, but as time goes by, it takes it off piece by piece, might be by a centimeter. You never know how small that can get after a period of time. The second one, and there are many more effects to the Caribbean. So the second one is extreme weather events. So for example, we have hurricanes, we have tropical storms, we have all those things that come during like from June to November, where those can damage the infrastructure we have here, property and the ecosystem. So guys, just think about the question, extreme or climate change if impact the Caribbean. So what happen if we have drought? We know we rely heavily on plants to survive, etc. So those you can look at. I made mention of ecosystem. Ecosystem might be a question on the paper where they ask about what it describe the ecosystem, and please, ecosystem is like a system with different living bodies. So when you talk about, for example, a system where plants, animal, and different insects live in that depend on each other. So that is ecosystem. Please, any questions you can ask. Moving along. Now, people who do TD. Lebron, me know you would do TD. Tamian, not sure if you do TD. Is that correct? Tamian,
Yes, sir.
you do
Yeah.
TD? All right, good.
Yeah.
So, building technology, people, is a mixture of technical drawing, woodworking, and construction all together. All of them link in building tech and furniture. So, where you see it says use the plan of the small building given in figure 1, insert the symbol used to represent each of the following structures indicated by the labeled arrows. So if you can see here, you see an arrow here, you see an arrow here, arrow here, arrow here. It says a single door. This is the door opening. A window. This is the window. A step. Now, what they mean by that is very simple, people. Remember in TD, you see something like this? Something like this. It's actually neater than this. Let me try again. That straight line, then a curve come round. Alright, let me put it in, show you. So a straight line, then a curve come round to represent the door opening going to this direction. So when you open the door, it's gonna be opened in this direction. Alright, people? And the window would normally look something like this. Let me try that again. Alright, so sorry about that. So yeah, so the window would normally look something like this. Straight line. Then you have something here, here, and lines going across to represent a window. And then finally, the step area. You normally have something looking like depending on the number of steps you'd use, and then two circular columns at the corners of this small section. Circular columns, right? And if it's a square column would look like this. A rectangular column, stuff like that. So again, they would normally ask you to draw a door. You just go ahead and draw a door, but depending on the views. If they say plan view, this is plan view. If they say side elevation, this is side elevation of a house. So window and a door. Back elevation, you go to the back part. Side elevations, front elevations, those would have been uh those would have been things that you would have seen are done if they depending on what they ask you for. But this right now, plan view looking down. All right. All right. So backfilling now, people. They say you should define each of the following terms. Now, people, backfilling. Again, as I always say to you, just try to break it down. Backfilling. Let me break it down. When you go to like a site and then you see them dig out the foundation to put in the matting. So they put the line, dig out the foundation and throw the dirt to the side. After them finish do what them a do in the foundation, they would backfill. So they pretty much take the dirt that was excavated from the ground, put it back. That is pretty much backfilling. They use a tractor, they can use a shovel. Earthing. So earthing or grounding involves connecting electrical system to the Earth's surface to ensure safety by providing a path for electrical currents to dissipate and prevent electrical shocks or damage. So pretty much earthing is where there's some form of electrical connection being done. Um, Normally you see that depending on where you are, you see like they run some form of electrical current near your post or something like that. Salvaging involves recovering and reusing materials or equipment from construction site, reducing waste, promoting sustainability, and achieving cost savings. So what they'll use is material, any material where you see them reused from a site, where they normally throw away. For example, you have some old iron, they take up all the old iron them, then carry go melt them down and sell them back, reuse them. Plastics, They don't normally burn plastics. What they do is they wrap them up, put them down. Cement, normally you just don't throw away cement. You'd have to take them to a specific location for them to be disposed of. So salvaging is pretty much reusing construction material. For example, woodwork or use on the farm, you wouldn't throw that away. You take it and use it back on a different project, which saves you money. And now we're at project building contractor. People will always talk about building contractors. Building contractor, the man them will come on the side and pretty much run the site. When you arrive on the site, these men would pretty much be overlooked in, and people will say they're not doing anything, but in fact they're actually doing work. They're checking where you're at with your work. They're hiring people to come and do the work. So three responsibilities of a building contractor would entail project planning and execution, where they come about, they plan the project, and then they come and do it on the site. So they would have a list of things that must be done on specific dates. For example, me arrive or Lebron arrive on the site as a project planner. Him have to be able to tell me when the project is expected to start and when the project will go finish. He must be able to tell me what he thinks the project will cost based on the contractors that he's hiring. For example, him know somebody that can do electrical. So he would know, say, I know someone who can do the electrical and he will cost this. And they work out the price based on the size of the house. And then quality assurance and compliance will pretty much look at, is the job being done at the level of requirement that it needs to be done at? For example, they are building a house. Is it that they are using the correct material to build the house? They are using the correct measurements to build the house. So those are things that the building contractor, they have a lot of work. Because if my house job boof, me now walk and go to the individual members on the site now. One man me I go to. And these are the man right here, which would be the building contractors. So people, uh that would be the role of the building contractor. All right. So as I said before, you might be wondering why am I all over the place? But I'm just answering past paper questions. Past paper questions generally, for example, I see something, they ask a question and I just decide, let me explain this while I answer this question. So differentiate between a hip roof and a gable roof in relation to the type of raft they use. So a hip roof uses hip rafters that extend diagonally from corners to structure to the ridge. Now look at the hip. Look at the hip. Do you notice that right around we have a triangular format right here? Look at the hips. And then there's a box, but a gable end wouldn't have anything but a triangle up top, but nothing to run over. So for example, let me get my, for example, right here on the gable end, you notice it doesn't have a next side where water is running to. Water only run this way and this way versus the hip end where water would run this way, this way, this way, and this way. You understand? So a gable roof would pretty much have two sides and the hip roof would have multiple sides. And by multiple meaning four. Uh when I get to the next page now, I would explain now what is the ridge and the eaves so you can have a better understanding. All right, before I touch that, let me go to this. Now, looking at this picture right here, this should pretty much fit the hip roof. We have this side, this side, this side, this side. You notice the rafters are coming here to the ridge board. This is the ridge board right here. Everything meets to the ridge board. And this would be the frame around. This would normally be the first thing. The frames would normally be the first thing where you put up before you attach the different common rafters. And why? And a way to remember this, the common rafters, there are more than one rafters. Ridge board, the jack rafters, which will normally be on this side. Common rafters, spanning this side, jack rafters more to the end. We have the fascia board, which is normally under here, so where all of these boards meet on. What they wanted for this question was to have, hold on, Alexa joined the group. All right, so what they wanted for this question was to pretty much for you to design a roof over it. To design a roof over it. So for example, you notice the roof outline right around, and then there's the ridge board. Then you have the hips. This is the hip end. Again, the hip is normally on this side. So when you're gonna draw the roof, it's gonna look something like this. Based on the outline you see inside here. You notice this dashed line there called dashed line. If you do TD, you'd understand. There would be something like this. Then you have the different rafters. Sorry, eraser. Then you'd have the different rafters running along the side here. Like this. And then these one now would have go this way. So what they were pretty much asking you to do is to draw the roof on top of this floor plan. When they ask you to do stuff like this, unless they state that you should draw the floor plan below, do not draw it because that's going to take up your time. Go straight into drawing the roof. And again, people, plan view, this is the plan view of a roof, meaning we're looking down. Elevation, for example, we want to see the roof from looking this way on the roof, it would look something like this. And this is the house, right? So this is the side view, plan view, as in floor plan. And if they want to see the side view of the house, it looks something like this. There's a window here, window. There's a window here, window. There's a next window here, window. And then there's a next window here. So this would be the right side of the house. This side would pretty much be the same thing. And this is the height of the house. From here to here would have been the height of the house. This side now you have a door, which is here. This side you have a window, which would be here, and a window here. So that's pretty much how it would set up. Again, people, do not leave anything on the paper blank. Alex, Okay, I just want to know so you're intact. All right, moving along. Let me clear this right here. We have 6 minutes, and then we're gonna join back and finish off. Now, how do we construct a hip roof? Normally, they would ask you steps on what the first thing you do when you don't make a hip roof. So first thing I would do is to get the measurements. Then I prepare the roof framing plan layout based on architectural drawing and calculations. Roof framing. This is the roof framing plan. And as Alex would have said in the group, you would know how to based on scale. This is the roof framing plan. And what I want to do now is to first lay out the roof like this before I start adding the common rafters. And again, the common rafters would be the ones that I would place along this side here. So prepare the framing, install the hip rafters securely and align them properly from the corners to the ridge board. So from here, and again, people, the ridge board is normally the centerpiece, which is right here. You join the different rafters. These are the hip. Again, the hip. And then you put on the hip rafters. Then you put on the common rafters would have been on this side. And you install them perpendicular to the ridge, providing stable framework, then applying the roof sheeting, install the covering material, and add flashing and other components based on the roof type. So if you're going to use zinc, tile, wood, after you add the common rafters, you add the roof sheeting, which will normally look like ply. You put the pieces of ply over it, right round, and then you add the roof covering material that you would actually want to use. All right, let me remove this one. Any questions, people?
The only thing of me I do, I just reconstruct the whole of that, but just put in the board, then we board figure.
Right. So pretty much just what I'm gonna ask you is oh you da do it. Them not gonna say for draw it, you know. Them gonna say, oh you do it. So sometimes you don't even remember about
So
the
I just
first
explain it.
yeah, explain it when them ask you or if them ask one question like this. Now in life, you are just a giant. Anyways, me gonna reshare before me touch anything else. Join back the link, people. Just hang up and join back the link same time so we can continue. Tommy, Lebron, Alex, just rejoin the link so we can continue, please and thanks.